Nick Dunne, the charming, laid-back former magazine writer from Missouri. Sarcastic, reserved, good-looking. He's the kind of man who can smile and disarm a room, but he's also the kind who keeps too much to himself. He grew up in North Carthage, Missouri, with a toxic father and a beloved twin sister. To everyone else, Nick might seem like the easygoing guy next door, but under the surface, something's not quite right. Amy Elliott Dunne, Nick's wife, brilliant, beautiful, complicated, the daughter of two famous psychologists who created a best-selling children's book series based on her, Amazing Amy. Her entire life, Amy's been compared to a perfect, fictional version of herself. She's deeply intelligent, perceptive, and calculating. And she's not just a woman. She's an idea, a mirror, a chameleon. Whatever people expect of her, she becomes. But there's a darkness inside her, one that simmers with resentment, control, and a hunger to be seen. Margot Dunne, Nick's twin sister, sarcastic and fiercely loyal. The only person Nick truly trusts. Runs a bar with him in their hometown and knows Nick better than anyone, maybe better than he knows himself. Rand and Mary Beth Elliott, Amy's parents. Famous psychologists and authors of the Amazing Amy books. Intellectual, composed, and warm. On the surface, they've spent decades building a brand out of their daughter's idealized alter ego, Desi Collins, Amy's obsessive ex-boyfriend. From her prep school days, wealthy, polished, mother-fixated, and dangerous in his own way. He's the type who'd rather lock love away than ever let it walk away from him. Andy Hardy, a young college student, pretty, naive, and wide-eyed, with a secret connection to Nick. The kind of girl who falls in love too fast and believes everything a man tells her. Now, the story begins. Nick Dunne wakes at exactly 6 o'clock a.m., a mechanical awakening, like a ventriloquist dummy. He lies beside his wife Amy, in a bed that still doesn't feel like home. In a house that Amy has never liked. Today is their 5-year anniversary. Outside, the sun rises hot and harsh, glaring through the window like an accusation. Nick stares at Amy's head and wonders, not for the first time, what she's thinking, what she's feeling, who she really is. Because Nick and Amy have been married for 5 years, and somehow, they're strangers now. Downstairs, he hears her making breakfast, cooking crepes, humming the theme to MASH. Suicide is painless. He walks down the stairs barefoot. She turns to him with a smile and says, "Well, hello, handsome." He forces a smile back. He's late for work. The crepes, the humming, the sweetness in her voice, it all feels like a setup. Because today isn't just any day. Today, everything will change. Flashback. Amy's diary. Years before, she writes with the giddy energy of a woman who has just met someone different, someone dangerous, someone dazzling. Nick. She meets him at a party in Brooklyn, surrounded by self-important writers and jaded creatives, and he stands out. Not just because he's handsome, but because he's fun, smart, irreverent, charming in a lazy, cat-like way. They talk, they laugh. He makes a stupid joke about olives that becomes an inside joke. He walks her home through a swirl of powdered sugar blown into the street from a bakery. They kiss. And just like that, she knows. This is it. This is the man she's going to love. Back in the present, Nick heads to work. He co-owns a bar with his sister, a rundown corner bar named The Bar, ironically. The bar is their lifeline after both lost their writing jobs in New York. It was Amy's money that funded it. Money she resents spending. Is already there, rinsing glasses, cracking jokes, reading his mood. Nick is tense, restless, shaky. Asks him what's wrong. He brushes it. "Oh, it's just a bad day." Asks if Amy's doing another one of her treasure hunts. Amy's tradition. Every anniversary, she sets up a scavenger hunt for Nick, each clue leading to a memory, a moment. But Nick never gets the clues right. He never remembers the details Amy thinks he should. Every year, he fails. Every year, she's disappointed. Today, Nick hasn't even opened the first clue, and he has no idea where his wife is. Another entry, Amy describes how Nick disappeared from her life for months after they first met. No calls, no messages. She felt abandoned. Until one day, she ran into him on the street. He said he lost her number. She laughed it off, pretended to be cool, and just like that they were together again. She writes about a book party her parents threw for the newest Amazing Amy book, the one where Amazing Amy gets married. Amy, the real Amy, was single, 31, smiling through the questions from journalists asking, "So when are you getting married?" She went home alone, lonely, aging, tired of feeling like she was never enough, and then Nick came back, and she thought maybe this time, she'll get her happy ending. Nick returns home. The front door is wide open. The cat Bleecker is outside on the steps. He's never outside. Something's wrong. Nick steps inside. The house is silent. No Amy. The living room is a mess. A coffee table shattered. Furniture overturned. Broken glass scattered on the carpet. A pair of sharp scissors in the middle of the room. The iron is still on in the bedroom. A dress waiting to be pressed. Nick runs through the house, through the kitchen, down the basement stairs, out to the boat dock by the Mississippi River. He searches everywhere, but Amy is gone. And just like that, the girl is missing. Nick sits on the front steps watching the street. The sun is still bright, golden, deceptively calm, but his stomach is twisting. He keeps calling Amy's cell 5 times now. No answer. He knows something is very wrong. Then the cops arrive. 2 officers. A young black man with a calm posture, and a Hispanic woman with a sharp braid and a sharper eye. They walk toward the porch like they're stopping by a neighborhood picnic. Nick walks them inside, and that's when he sees it. Through their eyes, the overturned furniture, the broken glass, the shattered coffee table, but nothing stolen, nothing clearly missing. It's not a robbery. The cops look at the scene, eyebrows pinching. "Does your wife have any enemies?" they ask. Nick stammers, "Not that I know of." But here's the thing. Even now, with his wife missing, with the house trashed, Nick doesn't seem scared. He doesn't even seem particularly upset. Flashback. Amy writes about the moment she knew she'd marry Nick. He took her to a beach house, soft sun, soft wind, the smell of salt and sunscreen. He watched her with a look she hadn't seen before. He kissed her fingers and whispered, "Marry me." She laughed. "Are you serious?" He nodded. "Dead serious." She said yes. Later, she wrote about the wedding, the laughter, the dancing, the beginning of a life together that felt like a fairy tale. At least. At first. At the house, Detective Rhonda Boney and Officer Gilpin take notes, photos, ask questions. Nick tries to act normal, tries to cooperate. But when they ask about Amy's friends, he can't name a single one. When they ask what she did with her time, he doesn't really know. When they ask what she was wearing that morning, he guesses. Every answer makes him look worse. And then, they find something. A small blood smear on the kitchen cabinet. Just a dot. A glint of red. But enough. The honeymoon glow has dimmed. Amy writes about their 2nd year of marriage. Nick is changing. He's distant. He doesn't laugh as much. He forgets things, anniversaries, appointments, moments. He doesn't touch her like he used to. And sometimes, he scares her. One night, they get into a fight. She asks him why he's so cold. He explodes, yells at her, slams a door. She wonders if this is how it starts. The unraveling. She feels like she's losing him, bit by bit. The next morning, the press is already outside their house. Reporters, cameras, news vans. Missing wife, broken husband. Nick stands on the porch beside Amy's parents, who have flown in immediately. Rand and Mary Beth Elliott, polished, dignified, devastated. They thank the community. They plead for Amy's safe return. They hand out missing flyers. Nick speaks last. He tries to look heartbroken, but when the cameras flash, he smiles, just for a second. One of the reporters catches it. A husband whose wife has vanished shouldn't be smiling. Amy's tone is darker now. Nick has lost his job. She's lost hers too. They're broke. The city is expensive. Everything's changing. And then, the worst blow. Nick wants to move back to Missouri. Back to his hometown. Back to a place Amy never wanted to go. She calls it a punishment, a betrayal. He tells her it's temporary. She doesn't believe him. She packs her life into boxes and moves into a rented McMansion that smells of new paint and fake hope. Amy feels like a hostage, trapped in a life she never wanted, with a man who no longer seems to love her. Back in the present, Detective Boney searches the house more thoroughly and finds something Amy left behind. A clue, a handwritten card. The first part of the anniversary treasure hunt. It reads, "When I think of my lovely wife, I always think of her head." Nick recognizes it. Amy's style, her game. Clue 1. Detective Boney asks him what it means. Nick tells her it's just an anniversary thing. Something Amy always does. He's embarrassed, But he doesn't tell them the truth. He hasn't even looked for the next clue. Amy feels isolated in Missouri. Everyone knows Nick. No one knows her. She's tired of being the outsider. The wife from New York. The woman who doesn't belong. She tries to make friends, but they gossip about her. She tries to talk to Nick, but he comes home later and later. She starts to worry. Maybe he's having an affair. She starts to feel afraid. Sometimes when he gets frustrated, his voice gets low and sharp. Once, he squeezed her arm, just a little too hard. She starts hiding money in a secret drawer, just in case. The police continue searching. They check the shutout back. Nick follows. Inside, they find a pile of brand new items, a giant plasma TV, expensive electronics, video games, golf clubs, wrapping paper untouched, all hidden. It looks like someone has been buying expensive gifts, maybe for a surprise, or maybe for something else. Nick stammers, says he didn't put them there. But now, the police are starting to build a story. A man drowning in debt, a crumbling marriage, a secret stash of purchases, a motive. Amy suspects Nick is lying. He's gone for hours at a time. His phone is always off. She checks his browser history, nothing. She checks his wallet, a receipt from a bar she's never heard of. She confronts him. He says she's paranoid, but she's not crazy. She knows when someone is cheating. She starts to feel like she's disappearing, like Nick is erasing her. Piece by piece, she writes in her diary, I feel like I could vanish, and no one would even notice. And she's right, because soon, she will. The police are circling. So is the press. Nick steps out onto the front lawn, cameras flash, microphones appear, and all anyone wants to know is, where is Amy? What happened? Did you kill your wife? Nick smiles again. Wrong place, wrong time. He can't help it. His sister warns him, you look guilty, even when you're not. And then, it gets worse. A woman from Amy's old life comes forward, Noelle Hawthorne, a former neighbor, a friend Amy barely liked. She tells the media Amy confided in her, that Amy was scared of Nick, that she was pregnant. Nick freezes. Pregnant? No, that can't be true. But now, the world thinks it is. And a missing pregnant woman, with a possibly violent husband? That's a headline. Amy confirms it in her diary. She writes about it in stunned silence. A pregnancy test. Positive. She doesn't tell Nick. Not yet. Not with the way things have been. He's cold, aloof, distant. But maybe this will change things. Maybe a baby is what they need. Maybe this will bring him back to her. Or maybe it will drive him further away. The police question Nick harder now. They show him evidence. Amy's credit card has been used for hundreds of dollars of odd purchases, the gift items from the shed, but Nick swears he didn't buy them. They were bought online from their shared account. Nick says Amy had access, but he can't prove she bought them. Detective Boney stares at him, arms crossed. She asks about the clue. Did he find the second one? He lies, says yes, but he hasn't even started looking. Amy writes about fear. Something changed. Something snapped. Nick grabbed her arm hard during an argument. She fell. She cried. He didn't apologize. She starts to feel watched, cornered, unsafe. The Nick she loved is gone. She locks the door at night, starts sleeping lightly. She wonders if the baby is even safe with him. She wonders if she is, and then she writes a chilling line. This man may kill me. Day 5. Nick can't take it anymore. He goes to Go's house, sits on her worn couch, pours out the secret he's been keeping. He whispers, I was having an affair. Go stares. Silent. The girl is a student, 23. Her name is Andy. Amy knew. Somehow, Amy knew. He tells Go it's over, that it didn't mean anything. Go is furious. Not just because he cheated, but because he lied. To her. To everyone. Because now, he really does look like a killer. And maybe he's starting to wonder if that's how the world will always see him now. Amy's diary grows more frantic. Nick is gone more than ever. When he is home, he barely looks at her. She finally tells him, I'm pregnant. He stares at her, silent. Then, he leaves the house, doesn't return for hours. She feels the coldness again. The wall between them. She wonders if he'll ever come back, really come back. She wonders if it's too late. She begins to make plans, backup plans, just in case. Nick finally opens the first envelope. Inside, a riddle in Amy's handwriting. It leads him to the woodshed, then the beach. Each clue reveals a moment from their relationship, a memory Amy treasures, but as he reads them, he realizes something. They sound off. Amy's voice, her tone, it's mocking, sharp, darker than usual. This isn't a treasure hunt, it's a trap. Amy writes about being followed. She sees shadows, hears noises at night. She wonders if Nick is watching her, or if someone else is. She clutches her stomach and begs the baby to be okay. She calls her parents, leaves a message just in case. She begins to fear she won't make it to the anniversary, that something terrible is coming. She writes, "This man may truly kill me." And then the diary ends. A vigil held for Amy. Nick stands on stage. The cameras roll. He gives a short, awkward speech. Then, a face in the crowd, Andy, his secret girlfriend. And just as he steps off stage, she walks up and slaps him across the face, hard, right in front of everyone. The reporters go wild. The cameras flash. The crowd gasps. The cheating husband, the secret mistress, the missing pregnant wife, the perfect villain. The police arrive the next morning with a warrant. They search the house. They search Nick's computer. They confiscate everything. The backyard, the car, the river. Nick watches as they dig and dig and dig, but Amy isn't there. There's no body. There's no blood. There's no crime scene. Just absence. Nick follows the last clue. It leads him to the woodshed again. Inside, he finds it all. The TV, the electronics, the golf clubs. Amy's final clue was here all along, and on it, a card. The final line, "This place represents my biggest fear." And Nick understands now. Amy is framing him. Every gift, every clue, every diary entry, all of it. She's setting him up. And if he doesn't act fast, he's going to prison for a murder he didn't commit. But she's alive. She's safe. She's not missing. She's not dead. Amy Dunne is driving down a highway with a new haircut, wearing oversized sunglasses, singing to herself, and smiling, because everything is going exactly as she planned. Yes, Amy Elliott Dunne faked her own disappearance. She staged the crime scene. She planted the clues. She wrote the diary. She bought the gifts. She bled on the kitchen floor with a box cutter. She made herself vanish, and she made the world think Nick killed her, because that's what he deserves. Flashback. Weeks before the day of, Amy starts laying the groundwork. She learns how to fake a pregnancy with urine samples from a pregnant neighbor. She opens credit cards in Nick's name. She buys expensive items, hides them. She befriends lonely neighbors like Noelle and lets them think she's afraid of her husband. She writes the diary sweet at first, then paranoid, then terrified. She makes herself the perfect victim, and she prepares to die metaphorically. She leaves behind a box cutter, a plan, and a car parked in the woods, and then she disappears. Nick is unraveling. He knows now. He knows Amy did this. He's sure of it. But no one else will believe him. He's the husband with the mistress. He's the man with the motive. He's the liar. He turns to Tanner Bolt, a famous defense attorney, known for helping bad men look a little less bad. Tanner agrees to represent him, but there's one rule. Nick can't lie anymore. Not to the public. Not to himself. If he wants to survive, he has to start telling the truth. Amy rents a cabin at a trashy lakefront motel in the Ozarks. She changes her appearance, short brown hair, gain weight, new name. She befriends to strangers a grifter couple named Greta and Jeff. She hides her money in a fanny pack, counts it daily, but she's slipping. The life of a fugitive isn't glamorous. She's scared, dirty, lonely. And the worst part, people don't like her when she's not amazing Amy. When she's plain, average, human, she misses the power. Tanner arranges for Nick to go on a national talk show. Nick agrees. He tells the world he cheated, that he lied, that he failed as a husband, but he looks into the camera and speaks to Amy directly. He tells her he still loves her. He wants her to come home. He plays the only card he has left, flattery. Amy watches from the motel room. She leans forward. She smiles, because for the first time in a long time, Nick sounds like the man she married. Late one night, Greta and Jeff break into her cabin. They steal everything, all the cash, the car keys, her identity. Amy is stranded. No money, no plan. No escape. Now, she's living in fear. For real this time. She hides in dumpsters, eats from vending machines. She's no longer the puppet master. She's prey, and she hates it. Desperate, Amy makes a call. To Desi, her wealthy, obsessive ex-boyfriend. the one who once stalked her, built a shrine to her. She told the police he tried to kill himself when she broke up with him, and now she needs him. He picks her up in a sleek car, hugs her too long, too tight, takes her to his lake mansion, far from the world, and locks the doors. She tells him Nick was abusive. Desi believes her instantly. He offers her shelter, protection, food, wine, but he's watching her. Always. Amy is free from the world, but now trapped in another man's fantasy. Nick begins his own treasure hunt. He follows every clue Amy left, finds the final piece, a diary, wrapped in cellophane, hidden deep in the woods. He reads it, all of it, the fear, the abuse, the pregnancy. He knows it's fake. He can see her handwriting shifting, her tone shifting. It's too perfect. He laughs a hollow, stunned laugh. Amy didn't just fake a crime. She rewrote their history, and everyone is reading it like gospel. He knows now. He has to win Amy back, or she will destroy him. Inside Desi's mansion, Amy is beginning to crack. He watches her like a hawk. He plans their meals, picks her clothes, tells her when to sleep. She's a doll in a dollhouse, and she realizes something chilling. She traded one prison for another. So she does what Amy always does. She rewrites the story. She begins to seduce Desi, lets him believe she wants him again. She waits, and then, one night, she makes her move. Amy invites Desi to bed. He lies down beside her. She kisses him. Then she pulls out a box cutter and slices his throat, blood everywhere. A violent, gory mess. She wraps the cord around her wrists, bangs her head on the wall, tears her clothes. She calls 911 and tells the world she escaped her rapist. Nick is at home when he hears the news. Amy is back. She's bloody, bruised, crying. She stumbles into the front yard, cameras flash, and collapses in his arms. The entire country celebrates. The hero returns. The husband is exonerated. The lie is complete, but Nick knows the truth, and so does Amy. Amy is home. She sits in her hospital bed, weeping as doctors clean her wounds. Detectives listen as she tells the story. Desi Collings kidnapped her, kept her in a remote mansion, raped her repeatedly. She finally escaped by killing him in self-defense. The evidence matches. Surveillance, footage of Desi buying her clothes, ropes, her blood in his house, her injuries. It's a perfect lie, a horrifying perfect lie, and everyone believes it, except Nick. Nick, who stands beside her bed, looking into the eyes of his wife, the woman who just murdered a man and came home like nothing happened. She squeezes his hand and whispers, "You were perfect." They go home together. Cameras line the street. Neighbors watch through curtains. Inside, the silence is unbearable. Nick makes them drinks. Amy curls on the couch, watching him, waiting. He sits beside her. They talk, softly, quietly. He tells her, "I know what you did." She smiles. "Of course you do." And then she kisses him, blood still in her hair, her wrists bandaged, like a wife kissing her husband after a long business trip. Not a murder, not a staged disappearance, just a pause in the marriage. Tanner Bolt, Nick's lawyer, meets with him. He's stunned, disgusted, terrified. Nick tells him everything Amy confessed. The faked pregnancy, the staged crime scene, the murder, but there's no proof. Desi is dead. Amy's story fits, and no one, not a single person, will believe that the woman who escaped a rapist is actually a sociopath. Tanner says, there's no winning against her, unless she confesses. But Amy won't. She's too smart, and now, she's a national icon. Amy returns to her old routines. She does interviews, smiles on camera, cries on cue. People send flowers, gifts, letters of admiration. The world loves her. Nick, meanwhile, lives in a waking nightmare. Every word they speak is a performance. They eat together, sleep side by side, but behind her smile is steel, and he knows it. Nick writes. He starts working on a book, The Truth, about Amy, about the frame-up, about the murder. Amy finds the manuscript one day. She doesn't scream, doesn't cry. She just reads it, and then she waits. Amy makes her move. One night, she seduces Nick, sweet, loving, careful, and then she tells him, "I'm pregnant." Nick laughs in her face. "You're lying," he says. She smiles calmly. "Nope, I used your frozen sperm," she explains, slowly, how she went to the fertility clinic months before, used the last vial they had in storage, and now, she's pregnant, with his child. Whether he likes it or not, Nick is trapped. If he leaves, His child stays with Amy, the manipulative murderer. If he exposes her, she'll destroy him publicly. If he tries to fight, he loses, because she always wins. He tells Go, his sister. She begs him to leave, but Nick can't, because the one thing he can't walk away from is a child who will be raised by Amy alone. He makes his choice. The media attention fades. The house is quiet. Amy and Nick are a couple again. Publicly, she starts writing another book, Amazing Amy. The return. He starts making breakfast again. They hold hands in public, smile at parties, take walks in private. They circle each other like wolves. Nick no longer pretends to love her, but Amy thinks she's won. Nick is holding the baby, a boy, his son. He rocks the infant slowly, watches Amy through the doorway. She's humming, organizing diapers, planning the future. Nick narrates softly. He hates her. She's a monster, but she's also his wife, the mother of his child. She owns him, and he won't leave, because somehow, in some twisted, poisonous way, they deserve each other. And Gone Girl. Love becomes war. Truth becomes illusion. And marriage, the supposedly safe and sacred bond, becomes a battleground of lies, manipulation, and revenge. Amy wasn't missing. Nick wasn't innocent. And no one gets to walk away clean. They both got what they wanted, each other, forever, or until one of them finally breaks.